Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, December the 8th, 2022 at 10 a.m. For our agenda meeting. I'd like to have Mr. Lee say the pledge and Mr. Joe say the prayer.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We recite the Lord's Prayer. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, we're going to go with Ms. Katie Barnes and Brent Newman, the National Audubon Society.
Morning.
Morning.
I'm here to introduce our policy director, Brent Newman. He's here to give you an update on policy for the National Audubon Society.
Thank you, Katie, and thanks everybody for giving us the opportunity to present today. I know you all hear pretty regular updates from Katie on what's happening on the beaches, and I think you all met my colleague Shabam when he came a couple months ago. But just really briefly today, I was going to run through a couple of things that we're doing. So as Director of Policy, I work across our 3-state region in Baton Rouge and Jackson and Little Rock to work with elected officials and policymakers on things that are kind of in the Audubon portfolio. Birds, the environment, conservation, that sort of thing. So today I just want to give you all a brief update on sort of 3 major big things we've had happen over the past couple months. First, our Washington, D.C. Seabirds Fly-In, the upcoming Coastal Master Plan Community Conversations, and a new grant opportunity called Louisiana Outdoors Forever that was created by the legislature. So to be quick about it, Katie wasn't here at your October meeting, and this is why. We went to D.C. To meet with some of the legislators from Louisiana and talk to them about what's happening here back at home, and to raise awareness about a couple of the birds that were making their way through, or bills rather, making their way through Congress that touched on birds and some of our conservation priorities. We met up with Audubon folks from around the country, which was a good pleasure for us to meet some of our folks who are doing work in California, D.C., Texas, Florida, who are working on some of the same bills and working with some of the same government agencies that we are. One of the most important things we do when we meet with folks in D.C. is we tell them what's happening back home, what conservation priorities are happening. And in Louisiana, it's usually us reminding them that it's been a rough couple of years for severe weather. And if they can help us at all with any sort of disaster appropriations or anything that's going to help with coastal resiliency, we encourage that. We met this year with Representative Carter, Representative Graves, and Senator Cassidy's office. Had a couple of really good meetings and talked a lot about 2 of the bills that they are all working on one way or the other. There's a fisheries policy bill creeping its way through the halls of Congress that's going to update some of the Magnuson-Stevens Act. Doing more resiliency for the fisheries on the ground, and also putting some money to coastal estuaries, which I don't have to tell anybody in this room how important estuaries are and the health of our fisheries out there. So it was a good experience for all of us, and I'll pass on Katie's apologies for missing the police jury meeting that month, but we had a pretty good couple of days with our colleagues up there, meeting with the staff, and of course getting to tell them what's happening on the ground. And Katie, of course, was a rock star talking about what's happening here in Cameron Parish, some of the birds that are reappearing on the beaches, and how the beach nesting season went last year. So it was a good couple of days for us. And just some additional pictures. Here's us in front of Cassidy's office. I got to chat with his staff members. And then a shot in action of me gesturing wildly at someone about the fisheries bill, I assume. An upcoming, just for everyone's information, next Tuesday up in Lake Charles, the Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority is going to be holding a community conversation. And this is an opportunity for people in Southwest Louisiana to hear directly from the CPRA on what's happening in the newest iteration of the Coastal Master Plan. As you all know, this is how we deploy projects for hurricane protection, coastal resilience, and the like along the Louisiana coast. And every 6 years, the Coastal Master Plan is updated. So the 2023 update is going to be released in January. And they're hosting a series of meetings here with our coalition of organizations who work on coastal resilience, as well as 2 community organizations up at Grand Lake High School. Our handy invite here does not have the time, but it's at 5:30 p.m. It goes about till 7:30. Dinner will be served, and you get to get some FaceTime one-on-one with the members of CPRA who are working on projects in South Louisiana, or Southwest Louisiana, and talk to them about their mapping and some of the climate modeling they're doing, They do a lot of work on sea level rise and land loss and how that's going to affect the projects they're putting in, and how the projects they're putting in are going to mitigate or avoid that entirely. So it's a good opportunity for members of the community to get up there, have some face time with the state people who are working on these projects, and have a good conversation. If you have any questions about that, I'd be happy to take them, or there's a link here to the CPRA's website where you can register for the meeting online, just so they get a better idea of how many dinners to order and how many folks are going to be showing up. And finally, just wanted to call folks' attention. There's a new program that's going to be housed in the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries called Louisiana Outdoors Forever. And this is a 2-year process where 2 legislative sessions ago, the legislature passed a study resolution. So in between the 2021 and 2022 sessions, a whole group of folks from the Senate, the House, and the different Louisiana departments of agriculture, forestry, CPRA got together to study whether or not it made sense to create a fund for outdoor conservation in Louisiana. And I've got some graphs earlier to show, or later in the presentation to show why this was a good idea. But in this last session, they passed the Louisiana Outdoors Forever program, which again, going to be housed in the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries. It has been funded this year with $10 million. And it fund different outdoor conservation measures. This could be the protection of habitat. This could be putting in processes and procedures in agriculture to increase water quality, protect drinking water supplies, provide recreational opportunities, all the good things that make this a sportsman's paradise and maintain that for us. This, again, no news to anyone out here, but as we put together some materials and the legislature did their work on why this would be a good thing for Louisiana, these are some of the numbers that came up. Just the importance of agriculture and outdoor recreation to our economy. Who can get this money? State agencies, political subdivisions of the state, which would include the police jury and Cameron Parish government, and any non-government organizations, which I would point to Audubon as a good one, to work in coordination with public agencies who can apply to this program for funding. The purpose of this fund is to put a little seed money in folks' pockets so they can apply for the big federal grants. These are the ones coming out of the Land and Water Conservation Fund, programs in NRCS like EQIP, or the landscape conservation programs, just sort of leverage some more of those federal funds and bring them down home to Louisiana. This map will show you kind of how other states have done it around us, and until this past legislative session, us and Mississippi were the only 2 states who didn't have this sort of investment at the state level. You can see Texas, went big at $200 million every year for this kind of program. And when we were informing the legislature about how these programs work, we looked at our neighbors to see what our other friends in the Southeast were doing, and they're going to design the program, I think, around how it looks like in Georgia, Arkansas, Mississippi, who also added one this year, and Texas. These are the 5 big headings. As you can see, it's pretty general. Anyone that fits in one of these categories can apply for this funding, as long as they're going to also go for the federal grant after that. So again, this is the leverage money. The state helps you out with the seed money, so you can leverage the bigger dollars coming from the feds to get some on-the-ground conservation done. Where this is right now, they created a governance committee that's made up of folks from the different Louisiana agencies like Ag, Forestry, Department of Wildlife and Fisheries, the governor's office, and this group will be the people who actually determine where the funds go. And there's a smaller technical committee that reviews all the applications and sees how they're going to conform with the various rules and regulations as those are put around the program. It being a brand new program, they're still writing up what the match requirements are going to be, what the eligibility requirements are going to be, and sort of a handbook for those who want to acquire some of this money. And that should be finished, I think, in about January. So the way the timeline looks right now, the first round of funding for this will probably open up in about March. So we'll make sure that Katie and myself keep you all in the loop on what kind of funding is available, who can go for it, and what the rules and regulations are looking for getting some of that and getting it on the ground deployed around the state. That's all I've got for you today. Those are my 3 subjects. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to take them, or anyone can email me at any time, and we'll make sure we keep you up to date on not only Coastal Master Plan updates as that kind of rolls out this spring, but also the Outdoors Forever program and any other financial opportunities we can have to get some good work done.
Any questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you all for your time.
We do have somebody.
I had a question. It says for farming, would aquaculture fall under one of the parameters of it?
That's a fantastic question. I think that as they kind of wrap up their instruction manual that they're working on right now, that would be a good question to ask. The legislation is pretty sparse. As you can see, you can drive a truck through it as far as the big 5 subjects, the things will take funding. As they narrow that down, that'd be a question to send to the governor's office or to LDWF.
Okay, thank you.
I don't see why not.
Anyone else? Thank you, Mr. Newman.
Thank y'all. Have a good one.
We'll move to number 4. Mr. Daigle will not be attending today. But we do have a green card. I'd like to go ahead and do the green card if that's all right with everybody. Ms. Carrie Nunez.
You want to speak or no?
No, not after I talked to you.
It's good.
Okay, you want me to read this, Ms. Karen?
No.
Miss, okay. Okay, we'll move on to 5, public comment for batch 3 PPDR demo condemnation properties.
So on the batch 3 PPDR, we had, George Thibodeau, Hackberry, Theodis Navarre, Hackberry, Michael Dore, Big Lake, Francis Gilbo Cameron, Kip Abear, Sweet Lake, David Reed, Grand Lake, Tracy Reagan, Grand Lake, Emily Pence, Grand Lake, George Stearns, Big Lake, JT Primo, Creo, the state of Gushram, Creo, William Pierce, Hackberry, Matthew Gilman, Big Lake, or Grand Lake, Lori Broussard, Grand Lake, Gordine Norden, Creo, Connie Brister, Grand Lake, Constance LaPointe, Sweet Lake, Aaron Savoy, Hackberry, Jesse Swear, Hackberry, Susie Alfred, Hackberry, J.C. Rena, Creo, and Stacy Guidry, Cameron, and we had no written or oral comments on the PPDR batch 3 demo.
Okay, so when are they getting started on these?
Let me give you an update, Kurt.
Okay.
Batch 1 is complete. As you know, we put it out for procurement and y'all awarded the project to DRC. HCA just drew up a contract and sent it to office yesterday, the contract between Cameron and DRC. It was sent to my office yesterday before to Mr. Tom Barrett's office for review. He sent it back this morning, said it's good to be signed. So we're ready to sign it. We can get work started on batch 1. Now these are demo properties. Now we're complete. We're ready to do batch 2 and 3. We need to put that up for procurement also, 2 and 3. These are still demo properties. We're also asking, currently we got a contract with Ceres for debris removal. Their contract ends in February. We're asking for an extension of the contract because I was told yesterday they still have to be on contract to do work after February. The monitoring service, Rostan, we'll still need them in play because we need a monitoring service when the debris starts. So after the procurement for the demos, we're gonna try to get that going, then we're gonna start on debris. We can start on the backside, the ones that are already approved for the debris. We'll still have several more batches to go for eligibility and approval by FEMA and HCA to let us know to guide us to where to go from there.
When are they gonna start removing these homes?
Well, we're gonna sign the contract. They're gonna be contacted today. We're ready to sign, and the team has already come down last week, looked at the properties, get ready to bring the equipment, so they're ready to go. We just need to sign the contract.
Okay.
And then the debris, which Ceres came down, they looking at what to remove the debris and where to bring it to. Now, the only open site we have in Cameron Parish is Wilkinson Scrapyard, and he could take debris, but he cannot. The first batch involves asbestos. This has to be disposed in Jeff Davis Parish, I understand. But he might be the only dump site that he'll better benefit is that's nearby, but Hackberry, Johnson, by all that's going to get out of the parish. So we don't want no sage in the area. We want them to pick up and haul out. Okay. So
When's the tree stump part of this going to be done?
that's going to fall under the debris removal. Now, not everything. I don't have all the specs on each property. They've all been inspected. Some will be eligible, some is not. You know, it has to. In reference to public safety, just because it's a stump doesn't mean it's going to get removed, you know. But some of them do qualify to be grinded or removed. But I don't have all the. We got a lot of properties to look at.
Yeah, but when is it going to get started?
Well, we're
The
hoping
ones that
the
got-
debris. Yeah, we're working on that. Well, like I told you before, we want to start on demo first because there's more moving parts to get this started. It's already taken us 2 years and 4 months to get to this point. Now, we building the foundation, so once we start the debris collection, things will start moving a lot quicker because we got everything out of the way. We'll start.
I'm going to ask one more time. when do you think this is gonna get started?
But I say January.
The January?
Yes.
Okay.
Should start next month.
Okay.
If not sooner. They got to bring in the equipment and stationery and haul off.
Thank you.
Thank you, Danny.
Anything else?
Anybody else got any questions for Danny? Anybody?
I do,
No,
but
stop.
yeah, I'm all right.
Thank you, Danny.
All right.
Okay, we'll, move to Road and Bridge, Mr. Shane Manuel.
I had a guy quit in Hackberry, so I'm just asking permission to move one from Johnson Bayou to Hackberry to fill that position and advertise the hire for Johnson Bayou.
Okay, we'll move that to, we don't need to move that.
No,
We
I'm just
Just
okay
letting
it.
you know what's going on. Y'all wanted to know if we do
Okay.
hire or replace.
Okay, thank you, Chris.
Just one quick question, the guy that left, under good terms?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
He found another job,
Okay.
what he wanted to do.
Okay, anybody else? Thank you, Shane.
Yes, sir.
Miss Katie,
I have a few updates for you guys. The first one was actually already mentioned earlier. We were going to announce that the CPRA Coastal Master Plan meeting was in Grand Lake, 5:30. We encourage the public to attend. The priorities that will be expressed at the meeting would be to include some sort of reference or narrative citing the need for a feasibility study to develop a hurricane protection berm, reclaim cheniers. So that is something that Kara and I are going to attend. We're going to express the need for it. We have a few stakeholders between Calcasieu Parish and Cameron Parish that are from the private sector that are going to also attend, but we encourage everyone in Cameron Parish and in Calcasieu Parish to attend this meeting. Everything that is going to be in this coastal master plan in January is going to directly relate to drainage and hurricane protection and shoreline protection for the next 2 to 3 years. If it's not, no project will be funded through CPRA if it's not in this plan. The second announcement is our regional health unit, which is Dr. Lacey Kavanaugh. They have scheduled a few free flu shot vaccination sites throughout Cameron Parish. The first one is actually taking place today at the Grand Lake Library from 10 to 2. The second one will take place on December 15th in Lowry at the fire station, 10 to 2. And the final one will occur in Big Lake. They are still trying to schedule a location, so that'll be announced at a later date, but it would take place on December 29th. So these are free flu vaccinations. Everything has been posted to our social media platforms, and we are putting it in the Cameron pilot.
you can have mine.
I know too.
But it's important to note this is no cost to the parish. This is your regional office doing this, so it's great that they are investing their resources and funding in Cameron Parish. So thank Dr. Kavanaugh and her staff, he's here. The final announcement is finally 2.5 years later, we have received disaster CDBG funding. We got the notice 2 weeks ago. The state has developed 2 different plans. The first one, the program is called Hometown Revitalization Program, and these are just some eligible activities: commercial revitalization grants, redevelopment, an LMI or industrial corridor, micro lending programs, small business assistance programs, business incubators. So, of course, we'll have to develop a plan and submit it, and would have to be approved by OCD. But there's roughly $5 million available in this program to be spent in Cameron Parish. The second program is called Resilient Communities Infrastructure Program, and some eligible activities are drainage improvements to reduce flooding, rehabilitate or replace existing pump systems, replace or redesign existing structures to mitigate against future disasters, relocating public buildings from a high-risk area through acquisition of new property, or any ineligible costs that were deemed ineligible by FEMA. There's roughly about $5.5 million available in this program. So we don't have to take any action today. I just wanted to put you on notice that we have to start developing some projects that'll qualify for this funding. It's gonna be $11 million to be spent in Cameron Parish. It does have to be approved through HUD, FEMA, and the state, which is the Office of Community Development. So what the staff are going to work on the next few weeks is just develop a few different projects that we feel would qualify. And then in January, we'll come back to you, we'll announce some projects, and then we'll set public hearings. We have to have at least one public hearing before we can submit our plans to our proposal to the state. I would suggest we have a few of them. That's what we did after Hurricanes Rita and Ike. We had a few programs. We had public town hall meetings. We let the public comment on what our ideas were, and then if they presented any other ideas that they feel would qualify, we worked through those, and then you would have to vote after 3 months. You would have to vote on which projects you want to pursue. We would put it into a proposal, and it would get submitted to the state. And all funds have to be obligated by December of 2025. So
Will that, King Bayou structure, come under that pump system?
So, it has to be an existing structure, but yes, if it's rehabilitating, mitigating, anything like that will
We went out
qualify.
for permit for that already, so that'll be something coming up pretty quick.
Now we're gonna just present a few ideas. You might like all of our ideas and allocate, break up $5 million, $1 million to this one, 2 to this one, 2 to that one. I mean, it's up to you guys, it's at your discretion. But we're gonna work on trying to get, at least 3, if not more, feasible projects that we feel would qualify. But OCD does have the final say, so we'll have to submit that proposal. But this is a pretty small and aggressive, timeline. I mean, from the moment that we sign the CEA, we have 3 months to come up with the plan and, have our public meetings and submit the proposal. So I do have, the CEA draft, but I just wanted to kind of give you guys time to think about it, talk to your constituents. With the holidays coming up, maybe you have a lot of family time, sit around, come up with ideas. And then in January, we'll present it, CEA for your approval. And then the clock will start, we'll have 3 months.
Could this money be used for, like a rec center or dredging the intercoastal or?
Maybe dredging the intercoastal would qualify under the resilient communities. Revitalization, if the rec center had some sort of maybe a business component to stimulate the economy, maybe we could get it, qualified. That's just some conversations we're gonna have directly with OCD staff to hammer out exactly what they will and will not approve. And this is fairly new. I mean, we just got the announcement last week, so staff will work with the staff.
Do you know of anybody that has done any kind of study or work on that intercoastal waterway being dredged? Has anybody done anything that we know, that we could identify that something had been done? All these groups you talk to, they talk about projects on the levees of the intercoastal. Nobody's talking about dredging. Has anybody ever done any kind of work that are y'all aware of?
Not to my knowledge. We do bring it up at every CPRA meeting. Every time we meet with our congressional delegation, because now we bring that up, the need for the Corps to dredge it. And so it's always talking points, but to my knowledge, not 1 cent of federal funds have been allocated or dedicated to the intercoastal dredging or study.
We need to, people need to start thinking outside the box on this issue, because it's a big issue, and people think that I'm sitting up here every month and saying something about the intercoastal needing to be dredged. For the east side of this parish, this is a big factor. It has a lot of components to it. It has a rice field, it has cattle, it has fisheries, it has flooded lands. I mean, this is big, and look like we need to think who we can go to get the ball started. If you don't start, it'll never become. I mean, I know that Kara has done some requests for the Corps, and I don't know that we ever got any information back or not.
The gentleman that spoke at the meeting, the monthly, morning meeting that we have, Katie, didn't, I know I had asked him something about it, but didn't he say something about the intercoastal? Not Scooter, no,
It was,
I can't remember his name.
it was, wasn't it,
Can't remember where
it was, they had said something about doing some work.
I can't remember his name now, but, I know he had talked about something that, about the intercoastal, right? I can't
So,
remember his name.
the perfect place to, and I know you've attended a few of the meetings over the past, Mr. Lee, but continue to attend those meetings, the CPRA Coastal Master Plan is the perfect place to provide public comment. And if we have enough of our community members present, all agreeing with the same comment, then that's something that's gonna be hard for them to ignore. Eventually, they're gonna have.
That is that meeting at Grand Lake?
It's at Grand Lake School on the 13th, 5:30 to 7:30. If you can't get there till 7:15, that's great. They will not stop accepting comment until after 7:30. So you don't have to attend the entire session.
Can y'all provide me with some kind of, for that meeting, some kind of, literature, a map, that encompasses, that shows that Mermentau Basin, where the locks are located in comparison with the drainage of that whole Mermentau Basin? Maybe Gary can come up with something, some sort of map I could hand out so that people would understand how much this affects. It's not just Cameron Parish, it affects a lot of people, a lot of places, a lot of different, Vermilion Parish, different parishes, Township Parish. It has a big effect on a lot of parishes that seem like to me we ought to be able to come together at some point. But it takes leadership, and I don't mind doing that as long as I know who to go talk to. I mean,
Now, Mr. Lee, we do have a current project. It's a $20 million disaster CDBG grant through their mitigation program that we started. We call it the Mermentau Inundation Project, and that is a collaboration between us and Rockefeller. And we are the sub-recipient, and so we're managing the project. Actually, CARES taking over that project. And the indirect benefit of that project is to remove some water from the intercoastal and divert it back through Grand Chenier into the refuge under Highway 82. And so that is, to my knowledge, the only project that's ongoing that has any type of direct relation to intercoastal.
I understand that, and that's great.
Considered.
And that's great. I think the issue is more of, the issue that I'm concerned with is more of a high water level that they're holding instead of a flood type of getting rid of the water. I think they can get rid of the water pretty easily. It's that high water level mark that they got to, that you can't get no information on what that is, how much it come up in so many years, and when's the last time the intercoastal's been dredged. All that information, it seems like you can't get that information from the court. They ought to have it. And if they don't have it, they should get it. And because this is affecting Southwest Louisiana, basically. I mean, if they holding the water high here and you put 4 inches of rain on top, well, what that does, that spreads out all over and affects so many more people if they could hold that level down. And you could take some of those rains and not be affecting so many people.
Yes, sir. And we did request the data from the Corps on the last time it was dredged and the water levels. And the thing that they provided to us was just the raw data. And at the time that we received it, we didn't have a parish engineer on staff. So we had no software or no one that was able to take the raw data and throw it into some type of chart to where we could actually review what's going on and what the trends are. But maybe that's something, that our new engineer can help us with, if he can make sense of the data.
They're not gonna give you they're gonna give you the information, They're not gonna get it to where you understand it.
Exactly, it was just
I mean,
raw
they're gonna
numbers
give it
and.
to you and,
I know the last time we was in DC, we went and sat down face to face with them. They wouldn't give us nothing there either.
no, I mean, they just, but
I
you
mean-
got to believe that there's the right button you can push
But yeah,
to get it
you
started.
gotta find it,
Yeah, but that's the whole thing, you gotta find that right
yeah.
button. I thought before this election session would have been a perfect opportunity, but we just didn't get nothing rolling. Because they listen a lot better when they up for election, you know. That's true. I'm done.
I got a question. It has to do with this coastal plan, review. Are we ready to introduce to them our desire to create a burn district?
So we did not, we met with CPRA staff, last week, 2 weeks ago. Kara and I, went over there with a few, local stakeholders. We also had Scooter with us. Lori Cormier was in attendance. And we had conversations about how we have a need for hurricane protection and that we don't wanna abandon it. Our priority is not just shoreline protection anymore. It's 50-50, shoreline protection and then hurricane protection. So they're aware of the idea. We referenced all of the public comment that was captured in the Just Imagine process, which that final report, should be coming out pretty soon. And they were receptive to the idea, but they did tell us, you know, the coastal master plan is already in its draft form. The likelihood of getting anything in the plan as a permanent project is pretty much skim to none. But they would entertain the idea of just referencing some sort of feasibility project, for it. So, next week, for the 13th, we're gonna have more conversation with them, and hopefully we have enough of our residents, and we even invited some of our counterparts in Calcasieu Parish to attend that meeting. So if we all are there asking for the same thing, like I said, it's gonna be hard to ignore. Lori Cormier, she was really proud of her. She fought for Cameron, and she's retired now from Calcasieu Parish, and she sat at the table and she would not take no for an answer. So I think we're gonna at least get a reference in the plan. And once we have that reference in the plan, we think the funding, they didn't guarantee it, but they said that any surplus funding that becomes available, maybe could be directed to us to help initiate our initial design and feasibility studies for this firm. We did not talk about creating a levy district or any sort of special taxing service district. I don't think we're quite there yet. I think we need to kind of see if we're gonna get funding for the berm and see the timeline on when the feasibility study could be finished. It's somewhere between 2 and 5 years is kind of what we estimate would happen.
I think
We have time.
I think we need to work it into the discussions, because we can exist outside of the master plan, but it would be better to be included in the master
Yes.
plan, because we don't wanna be fighting them on any issues. So anytime we can work it in there, I'm all for that. I'm sure everybody else here is too.
So if we can get it referenced in the plan, just the feasibility study, then, and if we have the feasibility study completed before they start this whole process over again for the next coastal master plan, then CPRA would have time to model it and then include it in their next master plan, which is gonna be 2026, 6 years, 28. But they usually start about a year or 18 months prior to that, so. The timing right now suggests it'll happen.
Way out of the sights.
I you know, I ain't gonna say that. I have a couple more questions for you before you get through. Not on this subject.
I'm finished with my update, so go ahead, shoot.
Can I?
Yes, sir.
Update on the, ball field at Big Pasture.
So, Randy's on here. The ball field at Big Pasture is about 90% complete. We hauled in, enough sand to where all 3 fields are turtle backed. They are believed to be draining. Our road and bridge foreman in that area, Mr. Greg O'Shea's been monitoring it. He thinks that it's, that it's turtle backed, it's gonna drain pretty well. All the fences are back in place. The dugouts are complete. The only thing left is, 2 dugouts still have to have the tin placed over the top. They should have that finished by the end of this week, early next. They hauled in some surplus, rock, ground asphalt.
Left over from that state job we had at the Grand Lake one.
Yep, so Shane's crew, hauled that over to the ball field to build up the parking area so it's not so muddy. The batting cages are almost finished, the net is in. We're just waiting for it to dry up enough to get the man lift over there to put the net back on. And, the lights, which the lights are ready to be fixed. Again, we're just waiting for it to be dry enough to start inserting the poles. Randy, our project manager, he did not want to go and rut up all of the newly shaped turtleback fields, so we're trying to let it warm up enough, and then the lights, once they're installed, then it'll be 100% complete. Should be ready by
Why
February.
wasn't this done during the drought? I mean, we was in a drought, you remember, right?
Yes, sir.
You could have drove a tank across that
Probably
property,
didn't
it
have
was
the,
so hard.
There's just a lot of things that factor into that. Fencing companies, you work around their schedule when they're available to come fix the fence.
It's not the same people fixing the fences gonna fix the lights. We could have had 2 projects going at the same time. That's just my opinion, but, moving on. In February, they're gonna be out there probably wanting to use these fields.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully it'll be complete.
Yes, sir.
I'll hold you to it.
It's on you, Katie.
If I have to stand out there with a flashlight, you'll have
Yeah.
lights.
No, we got light plants.
We got light plans we'll put out.
The, other question I had, maintenance barn, Grand Lake.
Okay, I'll
The
start
dirt.
and then I'll let Shane finish. The maintenance barn, the building itself, we've just got the FEMA obligation in the last 2 weeks. $3 million is what FEMA obligated to rebuild the maintenance barn. Shane and them, they decided to rotate the barn, downsize it a little bit, and rotate it that way, because the whole barn's gonna be elevated to let the base flood elevation. So they decided to turn it to where their egress and everything would slope out, where we didn't have to remove the fuel tanks and the washing station and that tanks and everything. So everything that's there will be able to stay there, the fence will be able to stay there, and they'll just build up the pad and the road. The road's designed, we have those plans in hand. So we're ready, funding's in place, the design's in place, and so Shane's working on the foundation
The
side.
dirt pit pumped out, ready to go, starts moving dirt.
I got 4 quotes to move dirt. Steve Cabela was the cheapest. Cabela Equipment Construction. As soon as it dries up, he's ready to start.
The ponds are pumped out.
Yes, sir.
We need to, then move on.
Waiting on dry ground.
I know, that's always, I used to wait on that too.
So the design plans are with permitting with, Mr. Miles or CBO. They're gonna be reviewed, foundation plans are being reviewed one last time by our engineer, Gary. Once it makes it through that preliminary review, we will come to you for authority to bid, now that the funding's in place. So January looks like we'll probably get authority to bid, and then it'll be in a contractor's hands after that.
So how much downsizing did we do?
Two
It,
bays.
It's gonna be 5 bays instead of what we had 6.
So I thought we only had 5 from the beginning.
Well, the 5th bay is gonna be office space. We're gonna have 2 for us, 2 for sheriff's office. Center bay will be office.
and bathrooms.
Instead
So
of
he put the
two
office
bays.
in it now, I thought we had that one out, was
The
putting one
center.
outside.
Center of it is gonna be an office.
Yeah,
One
office,
face
bathroom.
one way, one face the other way from.
And you should, that $3 million goes toward that.
Yes.
So you're gonna have enough money, I mean, if you got it, I mean, do it now.
Yes.
Waiting, if you need to add on to it, we need to do it now instead of
Yeah.
later, is what, that's all I'm saying.
It'd be cheaper
So-
now than later.
Is it gonna be accommodating for the minimum, space?
Yes, it really was, it was just one bay that we removed, and we converted one bay, like I said, into a separate office space for the sheriff's office, and road and bridge will have their own office, and they'll each have their own bathrooms. And before, the bathrooms were outside, so those bathrooms are no longer,
Yeah, we're gonna get rid of that.
I think we're just gonna tear them down. And so, it really wasn't the square footage size, like, that we downsized, it was the height of the building. I think we did some changed out some of the beams. I think you were actually the one that brought that up, to make it more affordable. And so, that's what the plan is,
We're gonna,
fully funded.
at some point, are we gonna, we're gonna lift the road?
Yes, sir, that's included with it.
That included with the, we're gonna surface it?
Well, we're gonna pull all the rock that's on it now off, pile it up, lift it, put that back in. If we do need more, then we'll just home it.
And what I'm asking is, we're gonna hard surface it at some point?
Blacktop? I hope so.
Certainly can after construction's complete.
Well, $3 million,
allocate
you
the
should be able to
money?
do that.
Yeah, I mean, if we got, I'd like to see another thing done too, and I don't know whether you can include it in this project or not. But right there, when you go to the back, there's a narrow, set of culverts.
That drain ditch.
In that drain ditch. To me,
Yeah.
that needs to be widened out.
Pull that out.
If we have some extra money in that, I don't know if that could be part of, or we need to do something before the drainage can do it, drainage board can do it, but that needs to be widened up, I believe.
Okay. And the plan still is to, not build up just the road, but build up the entire pad, from the road all the way to where the building is.
Yes.
As much
All
as
the way
we
to the
can.
drain ditch on the north side.
Get everything out
What
of the
about on
road.
the south side?
Right now, we have enough. Right now, we have about half of what volume should be available out of the pond going on the northeast side. Basically from main highway to the drain ditch, north property line to the road, including the road coming up. That's capping everything at about the top of the existing pads, which is about 6 feet, 6.5 feet, base flood, or, elevation, with another 20,000 cubic yards available to bring a couple of these areas, like the pad for the building, a couple other areas up to closer to 12, if we need to, 10 to 12.
That's only phase one. If we got money left, then we'll jump across the road.
We wanted to be careful with what money y'all had allocated towards it. We got the initial bids, and we've got some room left in that allocation to still bring some of that other area back up further. Whether we wanna move it to the south side of the road, or bring the north side of the road, a couple areas up on the north side even higher. Base flood in that area is a team, so.
It's always exciting to see dirt being moved. Get it moving.
We'll get rise up.
Yeah, do you have any influence over
That
the
ain't never-
weather?
Anybody else?
It's,
Anything else?
I'm done.
Okay, this meeting is adjourned.
Review
Your agendas. Oh, I thought you already did that. Need to review the agendas.
Hit it again, just to take it back.
Take it back.
I guess I can start off. On number 8, G. ConocoPhillips Company, it says about these geotechnical borings for a larger project. Did they mention what that larger project is gonna be?
No, but we do have a meeting with representatives from ConocoPhillips on Monday. Mr. Harrison, I don't
I don't think it's gonna be anything about that, Bill.
think so.
I mean, we can ask, but the people that we'll be talking to is not, I don't think they're gonna have any information on this.
Johnson Place. I'm not sure.
It says Johnson Bay.
Yeah.
If you give us by the voting meeting, we'll find out and we'll make sure we present that to you before the voting meeting.
Okay.
Is there any changes to the holiday schedule?
The only change was I sent out an email to everyone that Juneteenth has now been declared a federal holiday.
When?
Juneteenth. And I asked if y'all wanted to add it or not add it, and the response I got back was to add it since it's now a federal holiday.
All right, my only other question is on 22 and 23. It has to do with debris removal, with Ceres and Rostan. Are we satisfied with Ceres? Are we wanting to renew this contract?
Yeah, so this is for their pre-disaster contract, so, in February of 2023, their current one would expire. And so we would, if we don't extend the current contract, we'd have to procure, do a whole nother round of procurement and get a different contractor in here, for the pre-disaster contract. And so, feel like, you know, we already are extending the series contract for the PPDR part. So one more year, I think, for the most part, in retrospect, we were pretty satisfied with how, Ceres and Roston performed. We haven't had any issues with getting FEMA reimbursement for the work that was done. It was a rough start, I think we all agreed to that, but once we finally worked out some of the kinks, you know, we were pretty satisfied.
Who was over the monitoring?
Rostan.
They didn't do their job. We had trucks coming in there with 3 or 4 yards in it, and they were charging full truckloads. I seen it, I called, they caught them, they run them off, but this been going on for weeks before somebody said something.
Okay.
So they're getting a buddy-buddy system here, and whoever the monitors are at the sites, they're getting paid. And Rostan needs to be held accountable for all of this.
So,
Well, at this time, Rustan's kind of a backup because what we got now, DRC has we have another monitoring service through HGA. It's not Rostan, but there's a shortage of monitoring services right now. So we have to have a backup. If this one gets overwhelmed with work and has to move on, we got somebody to fall on to.
Yeah.
But your point's been taken. You brought it up before, and you know, we had them to take an extra look at everything going on, but it has been brought up and addressed.
it was addressed, and, now that Mr. Wendell's, site is permitted for final disposal, the plan is moving forward to not have any, emergency management sites in the parish for the next disaster. We would go straight from collection to final disposal. And so, that would eliminate that buddy-buddy system because they'd have a disposal ticket that would have to match, the cubic yards would have to match.
Well,
what
this
the-
happened in Grand Lake, and it wasn't a final disposal site.
At the time, it wasn't final disposal though, Mr. Kirk, it was
Right.
just a
State-
staging
But we
area.
had a problem. I want it fixed.
Yes, sir.
I don't want no excuses of why shouldn't be fixed.
You have something to say, sir?
Yeah, I'm Jim Bocher with HGA. We do have a new monitoring firm lined up. That's not Rostan. So they're engaged and, as far as I'm concerned, trustworthy people.
Thank you very much.
So I have, one to kind of to present to you guys. It's gonna be item 25, President authority to execute, necessary documents to accept the nation of boat launch on Davis Road. So, we've been working, pretty hard the last few weeks developing an active donation, from Venture Global to where they can legally donate the launch itself and the parking lot to us. We would, provide the general liability insurance on it and operate it, at our own discretion. And it would be completely separate from the lighthouse bend construction that's ongoing. And so we carved out just this section. It's gonna reference our CEA, but they're willing to go ahead and turn that over to us so we can make it open and available to the public, especially right now since everyone's trying to fish. And so, they're willing to do that, and the earliest that we would be able to open it would be December 17th. It might be a few days later, but the earliest we're looking at December 17th of placing it in service.
But it is complete.
And we even,
Complete, and, MNC did some final testing. They even went out there and launched the boat, at low tide, just to make sure that they didn't have any issues, and MNC recommended that it be accepted as substantially complete and donated to the parish.
it has been inspected.
Parking lot needs to be really checked on. And what about the bridges there? One of them's about ready to fall in.
No, we talked about that.
Yeah, I met with, drainage board. They're supposed to get with Venture about maybe repairing or pulling it out and putting those.
My main concern is the length of the ramp, adequate. because sometimes they don't extend that ramp far enough, and them boats drop, them trailers drop off. I mean, that's, I know they're probably right, but that's a good question to ask, because like I said, that's,
I brought that up, I actually met the project manager out there a few months ago. They also didn't have any bumpers or cleats on it at the time, I requested those. M&C tested it, they made the recommendation. They're local boys, M&C, so I think if there were any issues, they would have expressed them, at the time.
They
but-
did it on the low tide right now, not a winter, not a dead winter with a big northern.
I don't know what time they.
I don't know when they done it.
I'm just worried about damages and who that's gonna fall on.
The signage and everything, so they're gonna make sure the signs are up, you know, launch at your own risk, the signs in the parking area about, you know, keep your cars locked, not responsible for theft items. Everything's supposed to be there. Of course, we don't sign the donation until we're satisfied that everything's there, but we didn't wanna hold up giving the authority to the president to sign it at the time that it's appropriate, because we're waiting on another meeting date. And our January meeting's pretty late in the year, I think it's the 13th. The 18th, so we wanted to go ahead and get the authority now, but we would not let the president sign it until it's passed inspections by Shane, Gary, and anybody else that you want us to investigate, make sure that it's willing. But once we accept it, it's ours, we have to put insurance on it, and we are the ones that are gonna operate it and maintain it from that point forward.
That's why we're asking the questions, so.
Somebody went and put a stop at the end of the ramp, you said?
They supposed to, cause they called me to see what signs we would want, and I told them to put
Oh, signs on the sides, not, cause the
on
ramp
the
is
road and on the ramp, yes, sir.
No, but a stop at the end of the
at
ramp.
the end of the,
Right,
right, under the water.
I told them we needed them to.
Cause they're gonna consider that would have to be some divers go down there and do something. Problem with being that ramp right there, I tell you right now, the size of the ramp, you'll launch the sports boats. Anybody that makes a larger skiff in there, the trailer won't come out. That ramp is pretty short, and it does not go to the end of the walkway. So I mean,
It'd just be something we need to look at.
yeah, we just need to make sure we got the proper signage at the end of the ramp,
Yes. Like
so it don't.
We did them in Grand Lake.
Maybe we can restrict the, type of boats to use it and require them to, the larger boats to go to another.
We don't have enough.
We don't have it.
Across the fair,
Yeah.
they can launch over there, the bigger boat.
I'm just saying,
Yes, sir.
We ain't had a ramp in 3 or 4 years, and then to force fishermen to go somewhere else, I mean, we can't even use the ramp on the other side of the ferry because they got it chained up. Where are we gonna go? I mean, right now, them guys are launching boats off the bank. They gotta go down there in the middle of the night sometimes to catch a tide, right, and launch a boat to go to work. That's pitiful. And that ramp ain't big enough to launch a skiff to even worry about the trailer hanging off the end. That ramp's a slap in the face compared to what we had before they took out what we had. That ramp we used to have, you could launch 3 to 4 boats at one time. That's how wide that ramp was. That ramp there, I can't launch my big skiff. It's too wide, it wouldn't even fit in it. So I mean, to specify or even get into the, you know, if everybody can't use it, then the parish shouldn't sign off on it. You know, or if a guy's a commercial fisherman and then you're gonna make him carry liability insurance to launch on it, that ain't, you know, we took something that was for the people and now here we are, you know. We're worse off than we started. Yeah, we got a nice marina and a campground, but they still people that rely on, you know, public entities to go to work.
there no other boat launches in the area? I mean, they can be repaired?
Yes,
Or-
the one. And we need to open the one up across the river.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, it's time.
It's time. I mean,
Well, the ferry, if it
You
ferries out.
can't even get the boats across the river. I mean, we got 2 ferries now and you still can't get across the river.
You can't get a car across there, okay.
So I mean, it's a moot point, you know, we had beautiful facility here.
Just to clarify, when I said general liability, the parish carries general liability, we wouldn't expect you to carry it.
They went through this in Tampa, Florida, Hillsborough County. They took over a property that was privately owned, just like this, and because the vessels were registered as commercial, they made those vessels carry liability insurance because they didn't want damages on public property from a commercial entity.
You're saying we can only launch one boat at a time over there?
That's only
Oh,
10
you'd
foot.
be like, yeah, go, I mean, that launch, I bet you, just looking at it, it's 10 foot wide.
12-foot wide inside.
We need to go look at that.
So basically, if you have an 8-foot wide boat, you're gonna have a 10-foot wide trailer, so you have a foot of variance on each side of it.
Now, you got 8.6 as wide as you can get legally.
Have you seen it, Shane?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We launched our crew boat there. Yeah. And they're 8.6 wide. The legal length is 8.6 wide.
Of a trailer, but
That's what you can't, that's what the legal size was, unless you got an oversized load on,
Right.
Yeah.
on the highway.
Yeah.
We will launch our big crew boats.
I think the only thing we need to worry about big time is make sure that
At the end of the ramp.
in that ramp, we
Need to have
don't
it
pull somebody's
clear.
axle off their trailer. You
Yeah.
know, or launching one boat at a time, that's, I've been to different launches and you can just launch one boat at a time. It's everybody gotta wait their turn to get in and out. You know, that's not a big deal, but dropping them axles off on that, that slab, you know, there's a big deal.
I just can't wait to be there and sell tickets for the fishing festival at that launch. 'Cause that's what that's gonna be a show.
Shane, for is the boat launch across the, ship channel, we need to try to go ahead and open that up. Cause,
Ferry won't let us open it.
I
I
know that, but
They need to open it up now because there's no ferry.
there's no ferry at all. I mean,
We had it.
that's not gonna be for long, but, I mean, you know,
We had it open to a certain degree before.
It's just commercial fishing.
Well, that's what we're trying to get.
They hand out the keys. The ferry decides who to give the keys to, the state.
well, if they'll call, whoever wants to get out there, if they're commercial, if they'll call a Joe, I'm pretty sure that, I know they call me and I try to make sure that they get it through
Well,
that.
I don't wanna,
Is that state owned?
yeah, it's state owned.
State
I don't
owned.
wanna complain too much here, but don't we have some type of lease on that?
We do, and it is our launch, property's leased, but it's our launch, and the jury made the decision in conjunction with the OTD that they would close it for public safety. If you wanna revoke that decision, that's a meeting we need to schedule with the
Maybe-
OTD.
Well, they're not gonna do anything about that.
Like, they might remove the ferry.
Maybe we could, work on an alternate ingress. Instead of coming in where it's in the ferry line, come around from the backside or something. And we could maybe, get with the landowners and get another access into the boat landing and then leave the fence up and that way the state will be happy.
It ain't the
They'll be able to access.
That's not what it
Just
is.
the boat.
But
It's where
the
the
boat and the ferry
parks.
a problem, because the ferry, when the ferry's moving, the boat should not be launching. The boat should launch when the
When it's
ferry is
stalled.
across or the boat is stalled. I mean, the ferry is stalled.
I understand.
The problem with it is it's not the commercials, it's the other people that's launching because they said, hey, this launch is mine, I can use any time I want. Well, that's true, but when you're launching it and that ferry trying to move around, that ferry can't stay on
Safety
that.
issue.
Yeah, I understand.
That's the concern right now.
But that ferry's out right now, am I correct?
Yeah.
It's out, every ferry's out.
So, maybe we, nothing else, we can open it temporarily and,
Gotta drive all the way around to get to it.
DOTD will open it. We've had people call us and ask, can we get that launch open, for surveying or other stuff? They will go open it, but you gotta ask them.
The last 10 years, we've had the same problem, and the problem is it's not the commercials, it's the rest, it's the sports. That's the problem, because when they get ready to launch, they don't wait on that ferry to move. They're gonna move it, they're gonna launch it when they want to.
And it's not the local sports.
No,
the
it's not.
Ohio State.
It's people that don't understand what's going on that ferry.
but
You can't, what's gonna happen is if we open it up and one of those sports gets hit by that ferry, then it's gonna be something else, it's a lawsuit again. I mean, and the launch belongs to us, but the state actually rules how it's to be used.
Yeah, but we're gonna get 2 new ferries, right?
Keep
2 new ferries, we'll have 4 ferries.
They don't go without a captain.
And none of them will work because they can't get nobody to run them. Ain't that something?
just for the gentleman's sake, though, if we, if you need that launch, we can get the key, get you in there.
My boat's 26 foot. I cannot fit my boat, truck, and trailer on the little ferry.
On a little ferry.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's just,
Your boat's
we
26
need
foot
something on
wide?
this side of the river.
No.
Oh.
Maybe it's just, Shane, just look at that and see what we can do. Like I said, I mean, the launch is that launch mainly is for, the commercials. And if they can't use it, I mean, where are they gonna launch?
Gotta get it from the store.
No, well, you can get stuck inside of it, but anyway. Thank you, sir. Anything else?
I have one thing, Mr. Curtis, we're gonna, have to do an add-on to approve a pro se verbal promulgation resolution for the in lieu of tax that failed. We weren't aware we had to do it if the tax failed, so we're just gonna add that on. It'll read just like item 21, except it'll be for the in lieu.
Okay.
Alright, good with me.
Anybody? Okay, this meeting is adjourned. Get it now.
For sure now.